What if you could close your eyes and imagine the perfect life that you wanted to have, and then open them up and be living it? I can't promise you that, but what I can promise you is maybe something, the next best thing. And that is, if you keep your eyes and your ears open to whatever information that might come your way, you never know when you might hear that one thing that's going to make a difference. Okay? Whether it's here, whether it's in your classroom, or whether it's on the football field, or somebody else you happen to just run into. You never know when you're going to hear that one thing that's going to make a difference in your life. So the things I'm going to speak to you about today are things that have made a difference in my life, things that I think can make a difference in yours. And I'm excited to share them with you. And I hope that maybe you'll hear one thing that you might walk out of here with that makes a difference. And if you do that, then I feel like my time here with you today has been successful. So I'm just going to ask you to listen to what I have to say, not because I think what I'm going to say is anything particularly, grand or whatever. It's things that I've heard, things that I've read, things that I want to share that I think can help. So you all have a workbook in front of you, so go ahead and turn to the first page. Now, have you ever heard the phrase, go big or go home? It's kind of another way of saying all in, right? Go big. Give it everything you've got. Well, I'm going to use BIG as an acronym for what I'm going to speak to you about today. And that is B for belief. And that would be a hint for you guys, and most of you are writing. I'm putting the word up in there in the blank that's in your book, so go ahead and fill it in. Okay? I for intentional, and G for goals. So let's get started with defining the first word, belief. Belief is to have trust or confidence in something something is true without absolute proof. Say it again. To have trust or confidence that something is true without absolute proof. Said another way, to have a confident expectation. You see, belief comes in many forms. You have religious beliefs, you have the belief in right or wrong, or you have the belief that if your football coach tells you to do something, he's telling you to do it because it's the right thing to do. Okay, that's belief. If Coach Mullins tells you you need to lift weights 3 times a week, every day in the off season because it's going to make you a better football player, don't you have to have trust and confidence in him that that's going to work in order to go and do it? You see, the quote at the bottom of the page says, "One person with belief is worth 99 who only have interest." So you got to have belief. So let's look at the first 2 words that we define belief with: trust and confidence. Trust is defined as to rely on or to depend on, to believe. And confidence is full trust or belief. Or said another way, belief in one's powers or abilities. And I really like that one the most. Powers or abilities. You see, no matter who you are, you have strengths. You have powers or abilities. And now it's to believe in them and to use them, right? Sorry, I got a little off of my clicks. So, trust and confidence. I'm going to talk to you about 2 kinds of trust, okay? Trust in yourself and trust in others. Trust in yourself and trust in others. So, for example, offensively, if Matt Malakane drops back to pass, he has to trust in his offensive line that they're going to protect his blind side while he's looking downfield, right? And a receiver who's lined up outside has to trust that if he runs his pass pattern correctly, makes his right cut, and comes into the clear, he has to trust that Matt's going to throw it to him. And Matt has to trust that if he throws him that ball, that guy's going to catch it. So that's trust. Defensively, Zach Frieda gets a call from the sideline on the next play, he's going to blitz. He has to trust that if he blitzes, the other 10 men on the field are going to do their assignments. The other linebacker and the defensive backs are going to cover their zones so that Zach's not leaving something uncovered. He has to have trust. So are we in agreement that you have to have trust to have a football team? Right? Well, I believe that that's true. And I believe trust earns all of us more. Team. Right? Trust earns all of us more. See, when you trust in your abilities and those of your teammates, you break down that invisible barrier that stands in the way of your success. When you trust in your coaches and you trust in each other, that makes a team. When you trust in someone, you believe in their character and their competence. Say it again. When you trust in someone, you believe in their character and their competence. And you see, character is who they are, and competence is what they do. Character is who they are, competence is what they do. That's why we talk about character, why character is so important. Character is a 24/7, 365-day-a-year thing. You are always displaying your character and your competence. And when you're displaying your character, you're doing what? You're building trust. Right? So let's talk about the second term that we use to define belief, and that's confidence. And a motivational speaker, writer, a guy named Jim Rohn says, confidence is a true understanding of who you are, not a cloak you wear. In other words, confidence is not something you can put on like you put on a winter jacket when it's cold outside. Okay? Confidence is built from the inside, and it's built over time. Confidence comes from the inside, and it's built over time. It's also said that confidence is a plant of slow growth. In other words, it doesn't happen overnight, gentlemen. Okay? It's not, confidence is a belief, really, in your ultimate goals and the belief that you've done everything you've needed to do to prepare to be successful. That's how you develop confidence. It's really a belief in your own potential, right? I mean, confidence is not something that happens after warm-ups when you go in the shed out on the field Friday night at 7:25. And then Coach Mullins talks to you for a few minutes, and then you gather together, and you hoot and holler, and you get all jacked up, and you run out on the field, and all of a sudden you're confident you're going to win. Instead, what confidence really is it's built during the summers, in the off-season, when you're lifting weights on your own. When you go out in the evening to run on your own, to be prepared for fall practice to start. It comes from working hard in two-a-days, doing everything your coaches ask you to do. It comes from working Monday through Thursday of game week, studying your playbook, studying the game plan, working hard when it's hot out, going through the drills, doing them the best you can every time. That's how you develop confidence. Confidence doesn't happen on Friday night. It's said a person with confidence is a person who can lay a firm foundation with the bricks that others throw at them. That's a quote by a guy named David Brinkley, who your parents probably know was a famous newscaster for a long, long time. Let me say that again. Confidence is someone that can build a firm foundation with the bricks that others throw at them. Those bricks of doubt and disbelief, hatred, whatever it happens to be. The confident person takes those and builds a firm foundation from which to grow and be successful.